because it's well past time to start, I'm sure. Oh, yes, okay. So today I'm excited to hear the results of your advertising analyses. And I want everybody to chill out and enjoy this. It's not like you're being evaluated on, how professional your pitch is. It all came together fast. So this is just to make this interesting, more so than just reading that textbook, which is quite a slog. So we'll get into that. But at the end of the day, we have our final Kahoot before we have our midterm. All right, yes, another Kahoot on the advertising chapter. And then next week is the midterm exam. So on Tuesday, we're going to review for the exam. And then on Thursday, we actually have the exam. It is mandatory to attend, which means that the exam will never be online. So again, talking to streaming folks, there's a few people streaming today. And I sent out a general announcement as well, just like a half hour ago. So the exam will be on paper in here. Now, in order to help you get ready, of course, there will be the review on Tuesday. But in addition to that, I have made up a little page here. So there's going to be 35 questions on the exam, multiple choice or true false. You've seen all the questions already, either in Kahoots or in the quiz that we took in the 4th week of the class. So questions will be repeated from there, which means that a great way to review would, of course, be to look at all the PowerPoints to the last 7 chapters. But in addition to that, you could review, in other words, play the Kahoots in order to try out the questions and see what the answers are. So Kahoot is a little bit weird. You cannot play a Kahoot by yourself on a laptop, unfortunately. I thought it would be like that. You have to have an iOS or an Android device, a phone or a tablet, and download their app. So the app is tiny. It took like seconds to download and install on my phone. Once you have the app, it'll just basically, you push on the link which says enter your PIN, and these are the pins for each of those chapters. I notice I left out chapter 3, so I'm going to have to add that in. So once you do that, the Kahoot plays for you on your phone with the correct answers and stuff like that, so you choose it multiple choice. And I welcome anybody who wants to try it in class. That'd be great. I tried it myself. Now, if you don't have a tablet or a smartphone, email me and we'll have to work out some kind of alternative where you can get access to that same content. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair. So, if you're eager to do some heavy studying over the weekend or something, that would be a great way to do it. In addition, the PowerPoints are there as with all of the information. So what you'll wind up doing is taking a test composed of 35 questions you've seen before in a context of like twice as many questions bombarding you and stuff. But I think that'll be a fair way to handle this particular textbook and subject matter, because it's so full of historical detail and industry detail. It's like this is like a super detailed kind of class. So I think that's a fair way to do stuff. And again, on Tuesday we'll review and we'll go through all of these questions, Kahoots, and take a look at it. So any questions about that? So this is up if you're looking in the modules, and I can see that this module is published, so this should be visible to you, the midterm exam review. Okay, so those links are there, and I will update my list to also have chapter 3 in here. Questions? Awesome, good, awesomely good. Okay. So I promised a few minutes for groups to get coordinated before. Would you guys like a few minutes for that? Let's say, is 5 enough? Should we go for 10? Some people are super ready.
5 to 10.
Some people are all by themselves, so they can chill. I think John is online. By the way, Richard, if maybe one or two of your fellow team members is in chat, so you might want to look for that.
It's like,
Okay.
we'll go.
You guys are gonna go? Okay.
I'm just gonna chill and relax my bed.
So welcome, shareholders, both here and abroad. I have some sad news. The clowns over at Mickey D's are destroying us. The Whopper is not getting the recognition it deserves from the younger, more hip audience. But what do those kids have these days? A Google Home. So I have been thinking. Now, most YouTube videos ads are 15 seconds long, not long enough at all to explain just the grandiose amazingness of the Whopper burger. So I say, how about we have the Google Home do it for us? How does that sound?
Yes.
Good. Any questions?
Yes. What product are you advertising?
The Whopper, the best burger in the world, of course.
Who is your target audience?
The young, hip millennials who actually own a Google Home.
And what features in this Google Home or the Whopper are you mainly trying to project in this?
We're trying to project how we're hip and in control and know how to use technology by having someone speak in an ad to trigger it. Any other questions?
I think we're good. We'd like to see your ad here.
Excellent. And I've specially prepared and I've changed the Wikipedia article just so it reads what we want it to say.
You're watching a 15-second Burger King ad, which is unfortunately not enough time to explain all the fresh ingredients in the Whopper sandwich. But I got an idea. Okay, Google, what is the Whopper burger?
According to Wikipedia, the Whopper is a hamburger consisting of a flame-grilled quarter-pound beef patty, sesame seed bun, mayonnaise, lettuce, tomato, pickles, ketchup, and sliced onion.
Microphone. We should have gone handheld for this one. So that was pretty awesome. So product Whopper, young millennials, your audience. The product features. So fill me in again about the idea, of course, was to link your product to the up and coming latest thing of Google Home, right?
Yes, Google's permission, of course.
Yes, of course. Do you offer them any action? And is there anything they could do after this, implied or direct?
Implied, well, just go get a Whopper. But there's no like order right here and right now.
Yeah, that would be sort of the immediate hard sell. But the softer sell later on would be
Definitely.
something like, don't forget about the Whopper because we're still up with the times. We're still hip. Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay, cool. And all that stuff about creative techniques and such, I mean, it largely gets, your concept is brilliant because it's there in the laptop. Awesome. Brilliant concept. Okay. Nice. All right. Well, that was fun. Next up, who else would like to come up?
It's gonna be hard to follow that.
I know it will. It will. You guys had a brilliant pitch segment. Okay. So.
Just to clarify, we want to be last.
Oh, do you? You have fireworks?
You guys remember us.
Oh, okay. All right. That's right.
That's right.
That's good strategy. So we have Sandra, Solo, and Tony coming up. Oh my God, there is a handheld. On a separate channel or like?
No, it says on channel 6.
But this one's still live as well, just in case. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jody. Wow, look at that. I didn't even fill Jody in on. Now, let's just see how this microphone is going to work if it's actually functional. And then we should show your ad at some point. So
Yeah. He's going to go and then he's going to kind of give an intro. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then you can find it on the fly for whatever you need to do. Okay, fantastic. Okay, go for it.
Hello, Pepsi Corporation. corporate people. We are tired of the same old ads for Pepsi Cola showing how thirst quenching and refreshing it is. So I think it's time that we start tapping into a different kind of demographic of the younger people, more politically active and intellectual hip kids these days are starting to take over, and we need them to start buying our Pepsi products.
Be bold, be loud.
Live for now.
Okay.
What?
There's your rhetorical hook.
Yeah.
Pause.
All right.
Was that ever a Super Bowl?
It wasn't Super Bowl, but it was a real
but
ad.
it was supposed,
Yeah.
Real life.
it's supposed to be resonant
I
of
agree
like
with the amount of dislikes.
those like
on the video.
tear-jerking, moving Super Bowl ads.
It's appropriate.
Okay, so our product features, we want to show a sense of community amongst the millennials, especially because of the during that time there were a lot of police brutality, and and we want to show that not all police are bad, but we want to showcase community and togetherness, and we featured Kendall Jenner as one of our stars in here. We feel that most millennials may or may not connect to her, but we feel majority might be.
Creative techniques we've used to present the product as meaningful include pervasiveness of the color blue in wardrobe and set design for brand association, as well as political symbolism. We've used a lot of sepia tones, slow motion cinematography, and artistic expression in movement, such as dancing and instrument playing. The song choice, which actually the one that we did was a different song than the one on that ad, but the song choice is deliberate, includes the lyrics, "We are the chosen ones," over and over, in like a high bass anthem, sort of invoking ideas of togetherness. And the idea of this music choice paired with overt symbolisms of the themes we've discussed is to get the blood pumping and to manufacture a moving experience for our audience, who will then associate these positive yet incredibly significant sentiments with the brand. The use of color in this ad is deliberate and is a mechanism of both brand association and a rhetorical technique to align our brand with political, left-leaning politics, in contrast to our competitors' red motif. We also wanted the audience to forget what they think they know about what demographic drinks soda, by portraying our young, lively, active crowd as Pepsi drinkers. We could subtly do that.
My name is the Mark Marlap.
All right. All right. So does that? How does that feel though when you're up there? Are you you're forced to actually be like positive in your pitch about the ad, right?
Well,
Is that tough?
When we first chose the ad, we were just like, oh yeah, there's a lot of substance here.
If there
Then
is.
we were going through it, we turned the page over and we're like, oh no, we have to pitch this?
We have to get behind this, right? Yeah, that must be tough. I was looking at it. I mean, but yeah, it's true. So much good stuff in that ad, and I hadn't even thought about the red, blue, Pepsi, Coke parallel, and I thought that was really very clever. Your analysis was really very, if I was your client, I'd say, wow, this is a very brainy, creative agency here. Wow, we're going to go with them for sure. So that's cool. And looking through this, I mean, you know, this idea that ads often feature models or characters who are there to, you know, reflect back on the target audience. Obviously, demographics were there. This whole community idea. There's some extremely prominent, you know, diversity type of imagery there. You know, and then Coke or Pepsi crossing the lines that are the political divisions that have riven our country. So that was fun. That was exciting. So I guess you guys had done the 30-second version, like the broadcast. Is that it was a shorter commercial you looked at?
It was the exact same commercial, just had a different sound.
Oh, okay. Because going out 2.5 like that is, you know, that's going to be a social media cut of the same commercial. You know, and so that's often, you'll release the commercial online and get people talking, especially if you got a big celebrity, and, you know, it's kind of, there's a lot of people
never
talking.
made it to television.
It never did.
No, it was
Interesting.
absolutely blasted on social
Wow, that's a lot of money to pour into a social media commercial. Huh? Wow,
I don't
interesting.
think they were expecting the backlash.
The back.
Backlash on
Yeah. Okay. Well, watch out, agency. Okay, who wants to go up next? This is really fun. Good stuff. Yeah, Richard, come on. Yay, Richard all by himself. Yes, Richard. Supported in chat by John. Yeah, when do you want? Do you want to show it right off the bat?
So,
Shall we do that? Here, there's your microphone. And let me just put this up on the overhead, or whatever we call it, I guess. So that would be the, whoops. Yeah, and there it is. And so, boom, up we go. The world is your, yeah, I can't frame it all. That's pretty good. Good enough.
yes, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello and good morning. First off, let's forget everything. Let's forget everything that you know right now. I'm not here to sell anything. You're not buying anything from me. I'm not selling anything. Let's forget everything. Let's time travel. We're traveling back to when you were 12, 10. You're a little kid. You had a dream. You wanted to be somebody. Of course, almost more than 60% of you guys wanted to be a rock star.
Yes.
And that's what I'm aiming for. I'm selling this product to that person, whoever that guy or girl, anybody is. I'm appealing this product to that person, and this is where my product comes in play. If you've ever sat in a shower, sung like crazy, this is for you. I'm sure that you see, he can relate. He's right there with me. So yes, I do it. Come on, I sing. I don't have a good voice, but I do it just because I want to. So this product is right here for you. It's simple, it's easy, it's small, it's brilliant. It's tech savvy. You have an app for it if you want. If you're an app guy, it's analog. If you don't into app, it's so much easier. It's small, it's portable. You can take it wherever you want. Basically, you can make a small studio in your small corner of your small room and still be a rock star. How good is that? So this product right here is just for you. If you think this is just it, no, it's not. Imagine if you wanted to be a star, what you have to do, you just gotta go to studios, you gotta wait in line. Maybe if you were lucky, you would get in, talk with them. If you were lucky, you would get a chance. That's an if. That's an if in like 1 in a billion chances. But this little thing gives that billion, brings that billion to you. We got YouTubes, we got everything. This little thing is the key for you. If you ever, that little kid in you wants that little singing thing that you always decided, always wanted, my product right here is for you. The world is your studio with my product. Thank you.
That was a mic drop.
Nice. Okay, thank you, Richard. You can sit, and we'll have. Yes. So, well, hang on. Let's not. That was a masterful pitch and stuff. So the product is like a USB microphone with some extra processing included in it, and
It's a condenser mic.
Got you. Condenser mic, and it'll plug into your computer, allow you to record your instrument. It'll also let you do some processing and stuff. So it's awesome. So it does a whole lot of things. And so I could tell that as you tried to get us to think back to our early passion to be a rock star, you're kind of extending the market there. You're saying, okay, the market is for people who are dreaming of doing this. It's like, it's not a professional piece of gear. It's like a first step into recording and stuff. Nice. And then just in terms of the aesthetics of the ad, is there anything to fill in? And this is not just for Richard, but anybody else. Is the way that it's portraying the product to us? Can we deduce anything about the target audience or the ideas, Jenny?
Well, it seems like it is targeting, say, a solo and startup entrepreneurial artist, because you've got an individual who seems to be sitting in their own private living room or residential setting, as opposed to a mixing studio artist or a major crowd or whatnot.
Gotcha, yeah.
And they're just going about their business, and it's like
they've been put in the situation where you would imagine that someone's going to work on this by themselves at home and develop their craft. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's glorifying this intimate moment of recording your own song and showing how wonderful that will be for you as well.
It does look pretty nice. And the product itself has that sort of retro grill,
Absolutely.
1950s type of vocal mic and stuff. So it's been designed to look, kind of enticing too. Well, that's cool. That's great. Thank you, Richard.
You would have been better if my friends would be.
I'm sure they would have had. I'm sure, yes, they would have had all those other things that they could. But anyway, they can flesh this out. As they hand in something online. Exactly, right. I'm just checking to see if there's applause there. Yes. All right. I thought we might get some kind of...
Okay, my name's Jonathan, and I got my associate here, JP. And first off, I want to say thank you guys for thinking of us when it came to making your product for you. Okay, so as you guys know, visionsf.org. Okay, vision0sf.org. It's all about having zero traffic deaths inside the city. Okay, so it's a big, huge component of the city's safety. Having our roads as safe as possible to mitigate as many accidents as possible, okay? So with that, we wanted to use some of the facts that we saw on your website and use that and translate that to our ad here, okay? So immediately we got our nearly 50% of pedestrians struck on the Taravel are getting on and off the L. That's throughout the entire city. 50% of pedestrians that are struck are getting on and off, okay? So for that, it's just a simple basic ad. We wanted to have the yellow and dark represent kind of caution signs, grab your interest, and have the white really stick out so you can read it immediately. So whether or not you're driving on the road near Taravel, you can see this ad, you can see it at the bus stops, and you can see it on the Muni as well. So it gives the audience something to think about, gives the actual commuters on the train something to think about. Hey, when I get off this Muni, I need to be thinking, hey, I need to be looking both ways, look out for those crazy guys driving, not paying attention to the doors opening up. And same thing for the drivers that are seeing it at the bus stop saying, okay, I need to be more alert when I'm going by. All right, so that's our basic image of it.
So some of the techniques that we use in this ad to make it appeal to you include the high number statistics. In our high statistic, 50% of pedestrians struck on Taravel were basically getting on or off the L Taravel, which is very high. And these 3 words in yellow, it's the law, basically stating that this isn't just a suggestion, it's actually you have to, or something bad will happen, like you'll get arrested or an accident will happen. And additionally, we have this picture of people boarding the L and crossing the street and maybe even walking outside the crosswalk, which is also dangerous, and that is illegal, and that is something we should work on as well. Additionally, there's also this gloomy but natural lighting, and we didn't really want to make like that much, you know, visual appeal of the people, because San Francisco is a diverse community, so we didn't really focus on a specific group of people, of course. And I believe that is. Oh, and by the way, this also promotes the safety and well-being of us commuters and drivers in San Francisco. That is it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So before we move on, yes, get that high five up there. I was struck by a couple of things. The idea of what do we call it in the handout? The rhetorical techniques, and JP mentioned this. It's the law. You know, that's a pretty heavy-handed rhetorical technique. It's kind of, you know, rhetoric is the art of persuasion, right? It goes back thousands of years. Aristotle actually, you know, wrote a book about it, and you know, so ancient Greeks and philosophers were really interested in how to convince people. So one rhetorical strategy is definitely just say, you don't do it, you'll go to jail. It's the law, you know. So that's a pretty hardline rhetorical strategy. So that makes it kind of like, you know, just almost a confrontational approach. But on the other hand, then I was looking at it and saying, when you first see the ad, it also is calling us out to us as citizens and people who live in San Francisco. I mean, that's such an everyday picture, you know? Mm-hmm. And so in a way, although it's not in words, there's also a kind of an appeal to us as like, hey, this is where we live. You'll see this all the time. And I myself have come close to mowing down pedestrians after they got off the Muni, right? So, you know, it's definitely, it's an invitation because you live here. It's not like a you know, a stock image from somewhere else or something just about traffic safety. It's really specific, it's really local. And I think that is also an important part of the appeal of your campaign, definitely. And I agree with you totally that, you know, putting a big stat out there like 50% is, you know, it's a big deal. And I thought it was also very clever, you know, to read into the image and say, you know, we're going to have, you know, like a kind of a documentary shot of people kind of all over the intersection as it truly is, rather than, you know, dutifully walking across where they should be. So I think that, you know, it all made sense to me, and also you got me to look a little more deeply into this ad than I would have, to think about, you know, an appeal to the community, you know. So I thought that was really good. Even the color scheme, you're quite right, you know, yellow and black, and these are the colors of danger and traffic signs and stuff. So nice job, good choice. I guess you'd be a social agency, right? Probably not making the big bucks, but doing those socially conscious campaigns for the betterment of society, and
makes you feel better too.
Right. Yeah, that's right. At the end of the day, you can sleep well. You're probably taking a few city commissioners out to lunch once in a while to make sure you get those. All right, next group. Which group is this? All right. This is probably the last group. Last group. Yes, for sure. If you is this a? This is it. Okay, that's what's cooking. Okay, hang on a sec.
What's up, guys?
Hey guys, what's up? What's going on out there? Today, thank you. I just want to say thank you first off, shareholders, Mr. Vice President, for joining us today.
You're the man.
Today we want to talk about one product we have. When we sat down and thought about it, we thought we can get a big time celebrity. We could have created an app on an iPad or a home device to sell our product. But why create all that? Why spend all that money when you have the delicious craft cheese to speak for itself? It's targeted, it's mainly for the partygoers like us. You know, we're about to go to a party after this. I know Gino made some delicious rotel and queso dip. I got the blue tortilla chips. So yeah, this is what we're going to be talking about. Let me pass it on to our Danny first.
Just think about this. What would be your Sunday night football or Monday night football whenever your team is playing?
Hey man,
What would be
don't
your-
forget about Thursday night.
Thursday nights
Thursday
too.
night.
What would be your, Game of Thrones watching party with all your friends, or
Remember the
Golden
North.
Girls reruns watching parties with all your friends? I don't know.
Be Arthur.
Without the cheese, I'm not sure. Are you really watching TV without it? I don't know.
All right, so I'm probably one of the main party goers here. Not just raves,
That's true.
but rock and roll.
Olive, come on in the middle. I think the clients over.
My bad.
That's right.
We're all over the-
Gotcha.
I'm sure there's party people at home too.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so it's all about food, you guys. Come on, you can't live without some Kraft cheese, right? It's all natural stuff. You know what I'm saying? All natural. Okay, so you guys,
Yo.
Kraft cheese.
Yes, please.
That's what's up. You better believe it. So it's not just better cheese. It's so much better, especially for me.
Keep it up. Good.
That's what's up.
All right.
She got all of us.
My soul, bro.
Any questions for the Kraft cheese?
Oh, one more thing. You think I look good? The cheese looks good.
That's the main party goer right there.
Well, that brings up a question. Who in the agency was responsible for the visual design of this ad? It looks so tasty. What were you thinking when
We
you came up
contracted
with
the City College culinary department, and along with them, and along with the photography department, they got together with Gino's queso dip that he made, and
That's Gino's hand too.
yeah.
Strong.
So he's
And our ad
our
right
main
here,
actor in it.
our main ad right here really shows you how much he really wanted that cheese right there. We tried to take a picture and right.
You were like, no, don't eat it. Yeah, don't eat it. Yeah, but you know.
That's how
I was feeling pretty cheesy.
So you picked a hand that represented sort of your target audience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty much the party goer, yeah.
Gotcha. And it looks so tasty, and it's so well lit.
Oh, it
and stuff.
is.
Yeah.
You have no idea until you try.
Got you. And I suppose some folks, like me, who have little kids who just want it plain, they're thinking that Kraft mac and cheese is just boring old thing that's always the same, right? But I mean, I guess you must have been trying to like introduce a little diversity here, a little bit of.
You got
I said.
You got our recipes down at the bottom. There's a link to our website, and you can go on there and figure out anything you want to make, opt out any choices you want, and add anything else you want to add in there.
Gotcha. Wow. So
Good versatile product.
yeah, for sure. In this world where everything is like coming together and changing all the time, I think that's a great angle. Others? Richard, you had your hands up? Oh, come on, you were applauding. I know. You were applauding. All right, we'll let you sit down.
Nice and cheesy pitch.
Very nice. Nice and cheesy pitch. I had the great pleasure of working for a week with the Kraft part of the Kraft internal advertising people, and they all came to Canada from the United States. And I was like, ooh, I think they were from Rochester, New York, or something like that. Also Kodak Town, Polaroid Town. So they had a whole lot of corporate work there. But they were all Kraft employees, and for a week they took pictures of just different products, and I helped them like just run for coffee and stuff like that. Looked like a great gig, so
it's pretty sweet, actually.
Pretty sweet, pretty cheesy, cheesy gig. Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. It was certainly fun to see you all up here pitching your stuff, and it was a way to, talk more about the content of advertising than we typically would have done if we just followed all the slides and stuff. So good job. I'd say 25 out of 25 for everybody present.
That's a party.
That's right. And those of you who want those points back home, write something up and put it in, or even better, do a little video of your own pitch, okay? But just like everybody here did, that you should have the content in there as well as the attitude, all right? It's not just about style. I think clients these days really are, they're watching their money. They want to know about target audience and about, the types of choices you're making as an agency. So, but terrific, guys. Thank you. And I can't remember when we next have another in-class assignment, but it certainly isn't until after the midterm. Righto. So back to course content.
I was curious, did anyone put anything on the chat?
Oh, yes, yeah, let's see. Chat, come on, guys. If you didn't put something in now, let's hear it. Here's the chat tab. No, okay, John was still, well, wait. Oh, there we go.
No.
All right.
Oh, that's
Cool. Love the USO's shirt.
Usos.
Usos, sure.
Tag team, wrestling tag team.
Okay.
Oh.
Gotcha. Now I'm in the know. All right. Well, there was a comment of sorts. Okay, cool.
That too.
All right. Yeah, Tony. She says, "Whoops. Where's it? Tony's back." This is great presentation. Inspiring, not intimidating. I love it. Okay. Awesome. Good. Okay, cool. Well, let's look over the slides for some any important things that we didn't have time to get onto. And I have a piece of paper here just to keep myself on track, which got buried under all my other pieces of paper. Okay, just because this turned up on top of my pieces of paper, we have a student who's been taking classes in the broadcasting department who has made a documentary film about things going on in Burma. And this will screen on November 2nd at 6:30 p.m. We're putting posters up all over the place. In room 109 at the Mission campus, which is a pretty big room on the ground floor. It's a less than half-hour documentary about displaced persons. That's all I know about it. Yeah.
What was the person that does it?
Her name is Jenny. I don't think she's
Jenny or Jeannie?
Jeannie. It's Jeannie.
Yeah. My friend actually worked with her over her last documentary.
Right. So Jeannie Hallisey.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Cool. Do you know anything more about the project?
I don't know a lot about the project. I know she's done a lot of documentaries involving Burma and a lot of stuff going on in there, especially with the transgender youth and things like that. I don't know if this has directly to do with that, but...
Okay. Not sure. I'll have more for you later. And Jenny has an announcement regarding the Broadcasting Club.
Yes. So our newly established Broadcasting Club was finally recognized by the ICC, and the general meetings will be happening every other week. So the next general meeting will be next Friday, but our administrative/officers meeting is every week, and the next upcoming one is tomorrow from 12:30 at the Art Extension Room 169, and we encourage everybody who's interested in broadcasting to any extent, whether it be radio, whether it be TV, whether it be web, social media, publications, et cetera, to come, because we want to go ahead and make this club to cater to everybody who is a member, who is attending, whether it be field trips, internships, guest speakers, et cetera. So we all encourage you to come and give out your ideas, your voices, your interests, and also participate so that you can really get some first-hand, hands-on experience too.
My understanding of the last meeting is that we were meeting every week.
Kyle was suggesting the administrators meet every week.
Okay.
Yeah. But as far as
I think if anyone though that wants to show up though.
Yeah. That's what I said. It's not restricted to the administrators.
Okay,
as in, everybody's encouraged to come, regardless of whether it's the administrative meeting or whether it's the general meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
What time is it at?
12:30. Starts at 12:30.
And is that every week? 12:30.
The general officers/administrators meeting is every week, but the general meeting is every other week.
Still at 12:30.
Still at 12:30. Okay. Still at Art Extension 169. But regardless of which meeting it is, everybody's encouraged and welcome to come.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, and there seems to be an interest in operating our streaming radio station as a club activity. So we're looking into getting that back. So So that would be like we don't have a campus over-the-air radio station. So if you're interested in playing records and talking on the radio, this is as good as it gets, I think. So you might want to check out the club just for that. Hi. Okay. Thanks for those announcements. And let me see here. Or review some of the major things. We jumped right over a lot of talk about Babylonian clay tablets. Okay, but we did mention that the first on-record type of programming we call advertising was basically like an infomercial, a 10-minute talk about real estate in 1922 on WEAF. And then we mentioned that sponsorship became the norm for the first half century of advertising in broadcasting. Typically, sponsors would pay to produce the shows. We talked about the game show scandal of the 1950s and how this whole structure of creating shows in order to as vehicles for sponsors kind of put additional pressure on shows to actually rate highly and succeed, because it wasn't just a question of satisfying an audience. It was also a question of keeping your advertisers with you on your network. And if your show is failing because it doesn't have an audience because it's not all that good, it's not just that you're losing audience interest, you're losing that client potentially going somewhere else. So it's a lot safer to turn to spot advertising where you're not so tied to the success of a show. And at least in the kind of competition reality show of its day in the 1950s, it seems that pressure led to fixing the game and doing things that ran into trouble. And still to this day, sponsors that are when there's product placement in a show, for instance, now, which is something that is really on the rise, given how easy it is to skip commercials in broadcast television, cable television. You are obliged to, as a broadcaster, you're obliged to identify sponsors, or whether they're product placement or some other way that they've financed the show. You have to identify that in the credits to the show. So that's still a rule, right? But we've seen the industry from the 1960s on gradually move to the spot advertising type of advertising. So that's, we know, in pods and what's the other word that they use? Pods and clusters, exactly, thank you. In pods and clusters, right now, when you watch an hour of broadcast TV, the ads are spot ads, 30 seconds is the norm. They could be shorter, 15, longer, 60, but that's pretty rare now. And they get put into shows that way, which means if the show fails, you simply buy your spots somewhere else. What else? Yeah, new look. I mean, again, because of the whole ideology of the country regarding freedom of speech, it's rare that there are interventions into content. But for instance, in the 60s, they decided to ban tobacco ads. Same thing happened up in Canada, which meant that some of my early jobs were, all the financing for tobacco went to sporting events. Oddly, but so they would buy lots of banner advertising in sporting events, and then my job as a video editor, right out of getting out of school, was just like they gave me like 60 hours of sporting events, and basically every time a boat went by and you saw the tobacco company's logo, you'd cut that out and stick it in, and you'd stick it in, and then they'd send that out to television stations to put on as like infomercial at 2 o'clock in the morning or something, just because they couldn't get on TV in ads anymore. So.
Are there any ads or commercials for tobacco now?
In magazines.
Yeah, okay. But not on TV. Yeah.
Only alcohol you can do on the.
Yeah. And I wonder how they'll handle marijuana now.
Those are on the sides of buses now.
Yeah.
So,
Question.
Yeah, on
I don't know about
buses
TV,
for
but-
sure, but I don't know what they'll do with broadcast.
So I think the government still considers weed to be like heroin. So I don't think they could put that on classify it. Like, yeah.
Maybe in certain states, Colorado, Washington, here.
Yeah,
Here,
we're probably pretty liberal about it.
I hope so.
All right.
Since it's
So, what's interesting over here? Okay, different types of agencies and stuff. Let's see. So, target advertising. Yeah. Okay. So, how does advertising in cable TV differ from advertising in broadcast television? If you want that is something that we've seen more and more, and it's leading in to other forms of video programming as well. So here's the idea that the more, if we're looking at cable, obviously there's a vast proliferation of channels into the hundreds, and each channel can target a much narrower market segment than ABC, CBS, or NBC will. So your broadcast advertising typically has the broadest target audience because the broadcast networks try to be the big tent audience attractors. Like they want to get everybody. So the biggest example would be the Super Bowl, where you get 250 million strong advertisers, and it can cost you up to $5 million for a spot in that context. But even on your everyday programming, your basic Monday or Tuesday night, you're still targeting a very broad demographic, in terms of age, gender, and ethnic background and stuff. So your broadcast channels have the biggest audience. Your cable channels compete by being very specific, so they can offer up to advertisers, if you're a national hardware chain, you can get on that home renovation channel, which has a whole bunch of different shows, but they all basically appeal to a particular demographic, and also people who are interested in buying tools or other services like that. And same thing for televised sports or car racing and stuff like that. Well, of course, there's going to be lots of automotive products there. So what you see then is a fragmenting of the audience. You get audience fragmentation, the more channels you can put up there, and that leads to more finely defined target audiences, which means that will attract advertisers who want to be more specific in their ad buys. So it really looks a lot like the way radio turned to formatting in order to, attract old dudes to classic rock, and young party people to top 40, and so that way they differentiate the audience, and you can play the same game. So it's the pretty common strategy now as you move to greater segmentation, because the audience is fragmented, and more specific types of advertising. Now, cable, therefore, drives that because you got more cable channels. And another thing that cable can do that even satellite can't do is it can target down to the zip code. So Comcast can deliver, depending on how the layout of their the final mile of cable, which is not really a mile, but whatever from the Comcast distribution box to your house, depending on how they've located those boxes, they know you're in one zip code, two zip codes, maybe three zip codes maximum if you're in a kind of a border situation. So they can actually target advertising down to the specific zip code that way. So that's another way that they can segment and target even more efficiently than a satellite or something like that. Definitely more efficiently than a network. Yeah.
It's like that. It's kind of confusing because you ever watch TV and you get the Sonic burger ads or the Dairy Queen. There is no Dairy Queen or Sonic anywhere, so I always thought,
where's that coming from?
Yeah, like why California? Like I don't understand that kind of.
Did you notice what station it was on? Or?
Oh, it's on anywhere. The guys in the car who are talking to each other like comedians, whatever, for Sonic.
Honestly, I'm a cord cutter. I just never watch any of those.
Yeah.
If I want to watch those, I have to go to YouTube or something.
It's a big one. Weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's interesting. Well, I mean, part of it can come just from like a superstation, which is picked up on cable in another market, and they don't necessarily replace those ads. But that's another point that I wanted to make, is that in the cable broadcaster can substitute out the local ads from a program that they're carrying and put in ads that they sell themselves. So this is yet another way that cable can make money, of course through subscriptions and everything else, but even as they sell advertising. Remember what we looked at is in the broadcast world, in the hour, this will be ads, dedicated to the local station, sold by the local station. These will be network ads. And, so the network keeps the money from these and the local station keeps the money from these. Well, I mean, the cable operator who retransmits this makes an agreement with the original broadcaster, but the agreement could include, okay, we're going to cut out your local ads and we're going to put in our Comcast sold ads here, and they can make money that way. It all depends on the agreement that they strike with the original broadcaster. So cable is driving this fragmentation, and it also has many interesting ways of making money that broadcasting can't necessarily do. Let's just jump ahead to a couple more things here. Yeah, in terms of agencies, so a big city like San Francisco will have just a huge variety of ad agencies, whether it's just a couple of people working together who may have come up in a larger agency and gotten their experience that way. There are different types of agencies. Some serve national brands. Here in a big city, you would have that. But if we went to a smaller place, you'd have a lot of local agencies that might be producing ads for local TV, local radio, and stuff like that. So, there are different types of agencies who are listed up here. There are some big media buying services which simply will arrange with a client to make advertising buys across a range of media. So you may have a campaign that's on TV, in magazines, online, and stuff like that. So a media buying service can advise you and make those purchases for you to get you the type of exposure to different audiences that you want. You got your more creative boutiques, which maybe don't do any buying themselves, but instead focus on creating the ads. Like you guys were all basically working as creative boutiques today. And you got your full service agencies, which are often global in scope. Literally, they're in dozens of countries that will do all of it. They'll create the ads and also place the ads. In other words, they will buy the time necessary for that. And then, in this day and age, we've got agencies that specifically work in web and social media for their clients. And, that tends to be a business apart from the others. So it's kind of a separate type of agencies working on those types of things. And this summer we had a visit from one of our students, Jordan Taylor, who works for Twitch. Jenny, you were there, right? Were you? Oh no, you were in the morning class. Were you there when Jordan came in the afternoon this summer? Jordan works in interactive for Twitch, and so he was telling us about campaigns that they've been doing, which leverages the Twitch platform and all the millions of kids who are watching people play video games. But things like doing an advertisement for Old Spice where they put a character in a forest for like 48 hours and people could like text things for that character to do. And they just had a streaming channel of that, and they got like hundreds of thousands of people participating, engaged with the brand is the idea. You can sit back and watch regular TV and just be exposed to nice pictures. But your cyber agencies with interactive advertising are trying to get people to interact with the brand and for people to talk a lot about it. Gino?
There was kind of something similar to that on Twitch where someone was streaming the game Dark Souls and people were typing into the chat commands to control the character that the person was playing.
Oh yeah. So I think that was kind of a shout out to this, except they were going to do an ad with an actor. And we asked this summer, well, how did the person stay up for 48 hours? Apparently they were twins. They had twins who were doing it, so they swapped them out. So there you go. So the inside knowledge from Jordan Taylor. All right. And let me just see, have we got any more? Oh my goodness. Advantages, oh yeah, okay, so, I mean, this is also interesting, the advantages of radio advertising, let's say, versus other forms of advertising. But we said, it's local, and again, I was kind of, looking at your ad, it is some call out to people locally. It's cheap, definitely. There's a lot of people. When they talk about reach, there's a pretty large audience for the price that you're paying, right? So radio ads are useful in that way, and we're jumping over a lot of other stuff. Whoa, internet advertising, my goodness. Because what we want to do now is play a Kahoot and see if I manage to hit even remotely all of the things that I was hoping to hit here. So here we go for a Kahoot. Get in. Are you ready? Some people may be still outside just watching. Behavioral targeting tracks users' online activity to deliver customized ads. Okay, well, hang on a sec. So, well, I'll tell you, this one is true. I didn't get to that one. So, in web advertising, you can watch what people are doing, basically through cookies and stuff like that, and then serve them up those ads for whatever it is. So everyone got it, even without me talking. Those are my favorite kind of exam questions. You don't need to learn anything, and you can still get it right. So, all right, no, I'm joking. Television commercials are aired in groups called clusters or pods. I actually managed to tell you the answer to this before. So as we were talking over here, these are called clusters or pods. In the hour of television, clusters and pods, some
astronaut.
Right, they go to different, either the network sells them or the local station sells them. But clusters or pods, that is the answer. Yes, it's true. Clusters and pods. 3, a program containing ads for a variety of products and brands is supported by. I blew it. Ooh, okay, we had 4 on 4. Well, spot advertising is the right answer. So when a show is supported by a bunch of little commercials, those are called spots. All right? So the other option would be sponsorship, which is the old model, which we've moved out of the sponsorship model. Okay, so those commercials are spots. I'm glad we're going to go over all of this next week before the exam as well. More cable channels can lead to what? Increased revenue, audience fatigue, audience fragmentation, higher ratings. What does it do to the audience when you have more channels that they can watch? Uh-oh, misinformation again going on. Audience fragmentation is the correct answer. So the more channels you got, the smaller the audiences are and the more fragmented they are, the more they're interested in specific things. Product placement occurs when, all right, what will that be? Can you go back and correct your answer? So the answer for product placement means when a company like Apple makes sure that everyone's using their iPad in the show.
Yeah.
So that's product placement. Or Ford, it's like the American Idol contestants will now drive their Fords around the city, and so that's product placement. And of course, they're doing it more and more because people are skipping the ads, and so. In fact, Nielsen, the ratings organization, even rates, product placement response. So, radio advertising, when did radio start to happen? In 1949, when Xerox advertised the first copier? I don't think so. When was it?
1919.
Wheaties. Think about the product. I told you like about 10 minutes ago about a
What a hint.
second time ago. Oh, it was on the slide, yeah. All right. Yes, there we go. Yes, the majority got the right answer. As 1922, WEAF had a 10-minute talk by a real estate firm, basically an infomercial. Okay, and here we are, question 7. Advantages of what kind of advertising include it's local, it's flexible, it's low and it costs, and it reaches a large audience. What is the most local of advertising? Local medium. Oh yes, the majority got radio, the right answer. So the cue there I think is the locality. TV is going to be more national. The internet is obviously global. People can see your ad anywhere. And mobile, it's certainly not as local as radio.
Mobile is more wish-washy.
Oh, okay. I just want to finish this, but we can pick that up. I'll ask you more about that next class. A form of online advertisement running down a vertical. I didn't even get to this. Okay, so this is a form of ad where on your web page, you got your banner ads, but you also have a type of ad that comes like this. In fact, it could even drop down. What do they call that?
Skyscraper ad.
Give it a try.
Another version of the banner.
No.
Now he's got a
Please, media buying agency, would you buy me another version of a banner ad? It is a skyscraper ad. Yeah. Okay, so there it is.
So
I'm innovating. I'm actually teaching with Cahoots. I don't tell you anything, and then I just ask you a question. An advertising agency that can plan, research, create, produce, and place ads. Wow, everything in all media is.
I'm puzzled. I don't know.
Hey, nobody fell for it. Number 8, the majority said a full service agency. So that's the agency that can do everything. And now, excuse me for keeping you a little bit late. Question 10 of 10. The FCC requires programmers to disclose placement sponsors in the show's credits. So in the credits of the show, if Apple gave money to have their iPads, shown on Modern Family, do they have to be listed in the credits? The correct answer, again, the majority went for the correct answer. It is an FCC requirement. Product placements have to be specified in the credits of the show. All right. Thank you very much, folks. So if you want to start studying, you could download the Kahoot app and play all of these all weekend long. And I'll put in chapter 3. And otherwise, on Tuesday, we will do our very own hearing. Thank you all for your advertisements. I had a great time. You were